So I remember, you know, this woman, this grown woman who used to sexually molest me when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And not only that, she used to verbally abuse me. And she used to tell me that I wasn't shit and that I was going to die before I was 18, or either I'd end up spending the rest of my life in prison. And, I believed her. I believed her wholeheartedly. I felt like, she was grown, so she know what she's talking about. And, I believe her. I bought into it. I began to look at my environment. I looked at how, I was living, and which really confirmed for me that this woman is right. I was poor, dirt poor. I had no guidance in my life. My mom had a drinking problem. My dad wasn't there. The people that I hung with, we drank beer and smoked weed, and I didn't go back to school regularly. And I felt hopeless, and I bought into what she told me. And as a result, man, I lived like a savage. I lived like I was going to die before 18 years old. I lived like I was going to go to prison at 18 and spend the rest of my life in prison. I bought into that wholeheartedly. And my life, the things I did in my life were indicative of that. And it wasn't until, believe it or not, this guy, Professor Howard of Mercer County College, he came to Jamesburg. I was in the college program, and he came there and he said to me, he said to us, he was running a class and he wanted us to describe certain things, and he assigned to me to describe a green Foot Locker. And I described that thing in every detail, including the way it smelled. And he was impressed with that. He was taken with that. And he told me, Raheem, you have fantastic writing abilities. You can write a book. And for me, that was the first time somebody ever told me that I had redeeming qualities. And I held that dearly, to think that somebody thought that I had something worth something. And I held on to that, man. And then I remember, after coming home from prison, maybe the third time, my mom had stopped drinking, and, and she told me, Raheem, you can do anything you want as long as you put your mind to it. You can do it. And she continued to tell me that over and over again until I started to believe it. Now, I got to tell you, I believed it, but I never applied it. Well, at least not at that time. I didn't apply it, because it's only through understanding something and applying it that it works. So, I continued to live crazy until, I went to the College of Hard Knocks, Rollway State Prison. And it was there that I learned valuable lessons. Now, I can't say that I was drug-free, because I wasn't. I had a habit of heroin the whole time I was there. But yet and still, I learned some valuable lessons about people. First and foremost, I learned about the respect for myself and for other people. I learned self-discipline. I've learned how to read people's temperament. I learned about how to be independent. I learned about fear, and I learned about courage. I learned how to think for other people and to think more clearly, clinical thinking about situations to make a better decision. Um, I learned how to laugh from the gut. I learned how to be a friend. And I learned how to recognize what true friendship is. Uh, and then I came home from prison and I was determined to do something different. But I have the issue of addictive personality, the addictive trait. So I tried it again. I tried it again. I believed that I could manage my drug use. I'm just going to do it on Friday. That's it. But that never worked. That never worked. And I ended up suffering using drugs. And then I remember one night, man. I remember one night I was sick. Well, it was one morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was sick, man. What I mean by sick is withdrawing from heroin. I hadn't had none all day, and I was sitting on this woman's porch, and I was withdrawing. And this woman looked out the window, and she propositioned me. I'm going to give you this money, you're going to go get what you need, and you're going to come back and you're going to do this. And I did it. I did it. And the feeling that I felt after which, you know, and I know it's weird for a man to say, but given the woman, you know, I felt nasty, man. I felt nasty. I felt hopeless. I felt nothingness. I felt degradation. And I remember crying, man, and I remember screaming and yelling at God, and I remember praying, you know, and so I called this woman that I had been seeing prior, and I asked her to help me. I asked her to take me someplace so I can get some help, and Karen, she showed up. She showed up, man. She showed up, and she took me to um, um, Jersey City Medical Center. And I stayed there for maybe 10 days. And then I went to a place called Veritas in New York. And after which I went to a place called Samaritan Village. And, you know, I took off from there, man. I was determined to stay clean from there. I met a lot of fantastic people, man. I met a lot of fantastic people who wanted me to stay clean, and they didn't want me to pay them for it. They wanted me to stay clean because they had been through it, and they knew the horrors of addiction, and they wanted me to stay clean, and they helped me. They helped me to stay clean, and you know, I think that I'm blessed. I think that I am favored because I have lived 2 distinct lives in this lifetime. 2, I've lived the grimiest, dirtiest, most horrible life that you can think of. And now I'm living a life of gratitude. I'm living a life of a peaceful state of mind. I'm living an inspired life. I have some aspirations. You know, I see that I can achieve some things, man. And, you know, it's a rough road sometimes because I go through some storms, you know, and I get through them. I get through them. I mean, I would be entering a storm and think, man, this is it, man. This is it. You know, but then I review my life experiences, man, and I see how I got through a similar storm before and how this one may have been a little bit worse, but I got through it anyway. You know, based on my experience, and first and foremost, my faith in the Creator, that He or it would give me strength. You know, it would give me, you know, the power that I didn't have. You know, I believe that this Creator would bless me with some situations or some put some people in my life to help me get past the storms. You know, I've lost a lot of people along the way. You know, I've lost some very dear people along the way. You know, I've lost my mama, my daughter, my sisters, my grandparents, my uncles, everybody, where it's just me. But I'm still standing. I'm still grateful. You know, I'm still standing and I'm still grateful because I know that it didn't have to be this way and that I've managed to survive. I've accomplished some things in my life. I've accomplished the writing that the young man, Mr. Howard, from Mercer County Community College, he said that I can write a book, and I've written a book. It's called Almost Nothing. It refers to my life prior to now, and I have an upcoming book called Almost Everything, which reflects upon, you know, the lessons that I've learned and the struggles that I've overcome and the peace of mind that I've gained and the mindset that tells me that I need to keep that mindset in order to achieve the things that I want to achieve in my life. I've got people who love me, man, you know, and that's what the second book is about. So I had that on my mind today, and I just wanted to give it to you. So stay grinding, stay focused.